You know what I really miss? Fidget spinners. Good day. Hey, and welcome back to Talk of Better Worlds. I'm SirFelixTheCat, and this is Nerd Talk Thursday. So let me ask you a question that's been on my mind for a while. And that's, why do we play video games? Like you, who's watching this, why do you play video games? Like, real question, please let me know down in the comments your reason for playing video games. But, I mean, there's many reasons why we do. And some of them are basically just, the base level of, we just want some entertainment, something to do, keep our hands busy, nonsense like that. Like, just simple, basic reasons. But there are also deeper reasons why, and that's what I want to talk about today. So, while I go on rambling about this, you're going to see some gameplay, probably not Lollipop Chainsaw Repop, because that's a little too much to be doing for this video. But you're going to see some gameplay of X game here, and yeah, let's get into this. So, me personally, the reason I would play video games is, first of all, I like a good story. It's the same reason I'm going to read a book. I might watch a interesting movie, just some throwaway sci-fi movie. I like a good story. I like to see these characters be developed. I like to understand someone's point of view from why they're doing X reason. Like recently, I just beat Tales of Grace's F, the remaster, remake, whatever you want to call it. I believe it was just remaster. But I went into this game and I knew quite a bit about it. It had been years. I played it originally on the PS3, but decided to get it for the Switch when the remaster came out. And like I knew these characters. They would go through, and their whole thing is like believing in each other, believing in humanity, friendship, and all that. And the story that was laid out before me was just beautiful. They never give up on their friends. They want to show that there is good in the world. They want to stop wars. I mean, at one point, for a short period of time, they are going up against like a, what do you want to call it? Like a dictatorship that's building in the country they're from. And yeah, I mean, I could just see that through history or through current life events from what people are talking about. Just watch the news. And yeah, that's another form of entertainment. I can see how they dealt with it. How did they get through this? What was going on through their minds? And that's, to me, a very interesting thing to look at. It's one of the reasons I do like looking at history and seeing like memoirs from people from these terrible times. You can go read books like, The Diary of Anne Frank. You get to see what it was like for this person to be under a terrible dictatorship. Someone who was just genociding their people. It's sad, yes, given it is very sad, but it is also interesting to see the inner workings of someone else's mind. I think more so, especially with world events going on these days, a lot of people do play video games, read a book, watch a movie for a little bit of escapism. And that's probably my number 2 reason why I do it. I get to escape from the nonsense that's going on here. I can jump in, I can play with my Pokemon, I can walk around, explore the world, and drink a bunch of potions as the Witcher. I can sit there on a mountain while jumping over and over and over, trying to Skyrim everything, like Skyrim or Zelda. I mean, there's many things you can do. You can go do stupid things. I go play Bully again. A game where I'm just basically being a punk and beating up bullies. It's interesting, a bully beating up bullies. But that escapism just brings us a little bit of relief. We get to get out of the nonsense that we're stuck in. Maybe we have bills to deal with that are just tanking us. They're putting a lot of pressure on us. Heck, here in the US, medical debt is still just a leading cause of stress for a lot of people. You're going to go to the doctor because, you think you might have broke your leg, but you have to go through all these different exams, and next thing you know, you get hit with like 20 charges, and like a couple of them are being like, you got to pay $1,000 because the doctor stood there for 25 seconds and looked at you. That's a charge on its own. The fact they had to come in and wash their hands, that's a charge on you. We have a lot of stress on us. So yeah, escaping into something that's a fantasy world, or even just like a game that's set in like almost real life, but you know, it's still a fictional scenario. It's great. Go play the Sherlock Holmes game. That's a very realistic, down-to-earth game where you're just solving mysteries, stopping crime, stopping a killer. It's still a form of escapism, even though it's set here in real life. Well, a fictional real life. You know what I mean. But it brings joy to us. I mean, and not everybody likes video games, so, I mean, it's the same thing for reading a book. You can jump into a fantasy world. You can follow Alice down the rabbit hole. You can jump in and join the fight to return the ring to the volcano. You can jump in and ride some sandworms in Doom. All because you get to read the book. You get to escape into that world. And I think that's probably one of the most important reasons why we play games. We get to escape. We don't have to deal with all this. And let me explain too. There are people who don't play games for any of these reasons. I mean, there are people who literally just play games. They buy games that they don't need. They don't really care too much about games. But they do it because, hey, it's a competition. I can show that I'm the best. And I mean, if that's you, that's cool. Good for you. I mean, at least you're doing something that, you know, I guess brings you joy when you're number one on the player charts. I mean, or you can just be a billionaire and pay someone else to get you to be at the top of the charts and then claim that you're great at it, even though you're not actually playing games yourself, which is really weird that you'd even waste the time and try to get that clout. But that's, you know, that's another topic. But also there's games like the brain games on Nintendo DS, where you're actually learning, you're thinking, you're activating brain cells that you just don't usually use in normal day life. It's another beneficial thing. I mean, heck, I learned a lot about finance from playing games like Harvest Moon, games like that where you literally have to manage your money, or else, I mean, you're done if you don't manage your money properly. Can't buy seeds. That means you can't sell crops in the end and make money. You have Dragon Quest, all other RPGs like that. You have to learn to manage your money, and that you also learn that you have to work for your money. It's not just everything's given to you. That's why I think it's kind of bad that you can get a sponsorship for a game. Like, you've seen a bunch of YouTubers do it. They get sponsored for, like, Raid, Shadow Legends, or whatever that game's called. And you get free credits. I don't think that is beneficial to anyone. Like, yeah, it's cool for the moment. You get to get something free. Woo! But you're not learning the value of money. Especially if this is like a little kid watching some YouTuber and getting their code, putting it in, and being like, oh yeah, look, I got free stuff now. They didn't learn the value of $1. And that's a very important thing to learn. We have games that teach bad things. Like, we have Roblox. I don't understand. A lot of people like it. Same thing with Fortnite. But they do the bad thing of teaching kids, like, hey, just keep spending your money. And I don't think that's cool. Like, that's not chill in any way. We should be able to learn from our games. And that's one reason I do support games. And I don't mean like those, like Mickey Mouse learn how to count type games. That's different. But for people over the age of like 5, 6, or whatever, whoever plays those games, we should be able to learn something from our games. And I mean, you could take away lessons from a lot of games too. A lot of games. But for like these Brain Age games, I think that was one of them, Brain Age, you could literally learn problem solving. It'll help activate your brain, and you get to learn actual, like, valuable things. Because in real life, you get asked this in a lot of job interviews. Like, what is an example of problem solving you did in the past? And that is important to know, that someone can solve problems. they do understand how to make things right. Because, I mean, a lot of jobs, especially customer service type jobs, you do a lot of problem solving. Even if you don't have the power to do everything because you're not the CEO of the company, you do get to problem solve to an extent. I mean, I've helped out customers in my previous jobs. There's a lot of ways that problems will present themselves, even in your daily life, your relationship life. You do come into problems, and you need to know how to solve those problems in a very amicable way. And games can do that. I mean, let's talk about the relationships. There are visual novels that give you choices to figure out how to make things right between you and X person. And that is a valuable skill to know, because, I mean, we are all people. I guess you could identify as an attack helicopter, which I think that'd be pretty dope. To be like a Transformers. Oh, I'm an attack helicopter now. Something like that. But anyways, off topic. You do need to know how to work with other people. It's so valuable to your everyday life. And back to the learning thing, one thing I love is there are people who have learned how to read literally from playing games like Dragon Quest. Like, people have learned from video games. And I appreciate people who do go to some video games to learn things. Like, with that open mind, not just closed-minded, how can I cheat my way through this? What's the easiest way to cheese this boss? I like the problem-solving side of it. The people who actually are going to go out there after they beat the game and maybe build a walkthrough. Like a detailed walkthrough of how to play this game. Yeah, they're kind of preventing other people from learning if that other person just goes through and uses it. Back in the day, I'm going to say it's a little bit different. There weren't a lot of guides back in the day sometimes, so you'd have to just kind of figure it out. And if you go back and play an old game today, you might not know how to do some stuff. It just might not make any sense. There are times where in old games, there were just completely illogical things that happened. I mean, we're getting the remasters of the Suikoden games, 1 and 2. And there's some characters you need to get, or you can get, that aren't the most obvious things to do. Like, maybe you have to go back 12 towns that you haven't been to in forever and talk to said person, and then travel to this town across the whole map, talk to this person, and then go over to this little location, and X person will appear. It's nice to have a guide for something like that for an old game. I still love it when someone discovers that on their own. I will admit I have used many walkthroughs for old games, but I usually wait till I'm stuck. If I can't figure it out, then yeah, I'll go ask for a little bit of help, because asking for help is not anything to be ashamed of. But at least give it a shot. Try to use your brain. Try to think it through and think outside the box. And those brain age games, that's what they help you do. They help you think outside of the box sometimes. There's other indie games that do it too, and they do it very well. There was Fez, where you're literally moving like the world around, or I guess it would be the camera, but it looks like it's the world spinning. And you have to figure out how to solve these puzzles from different angles. And that's amazing. That is amazing that they're trying to get you to use your brain and learn some. That's another very valuable thing. I don't personally always go to video games to learn. I mean, like I said, I prefer a good story and a little bit of escapism. But I am absolutely not against trying to learn. I pick up games like Myst or Siberia because I do get that chance to, like, hey, maybe I'll learn some crazy new problem-solving skill. And it's great. It's great, especially when you could like go to school for problem solving and it costs you like, $1,000 a month for the rest of your life, because colleges are just stupid expensive. Which I could do a whole video on why they're expensive, but I don't think anybody wants me to get super political again. I do that a little bit too often on our podcast. Well, there's a problem with it, but, it is what it is. But one thing stands clear overall. Video games are, or at least have the potential to be, a very beneficial thing in every way. Escapism helps your mental state. Learning from the games helps you, improve your brain function. And then there's the social aspect. We have online games, and I've said many times before, I'm not the biggest on online games. I've played quite a few. I mean, one of my top games of all time was the MMO Dark Ages of Camelot. Most people don't know about this. It was basically WoW before WoW got super big. Once WoW showed up, it kind of was near the tail end of Dark Ages life. And I was sad to see that one go. Very sad to see that one go. Such a great game. But that was almost my introduction to social gaming, where you're going to meet people, you're going to figure out how to work with them. A lot of people have built real life friendships off of playing games online. There's quite a few people I used to talk to all the time on the PlayStation when I played PS4 and like Overwatch and Destiny all the time. I made friends on there. These are people who I genuinely, outside of the gaming world, did care about. I wanted them to do well. And yeah, there's a bunch of people on there who are just completely vitriolic and just want to spew hate and bigotry and racism and all this. It's terrible. There are a lot of terrible people online. And that's partially because they're not going to let you know who they are. They're going to hide behind a wall, hide their face because they know what they're doing, what they're saying is just completely out of line. I mean, either that or they just never watched Bambi, where it's like, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. But that might be a little too clear and basic knowledge for some people to understand. These people who claim that, oh, I have common sense, and they lack all semblance of common sense. But that social building is important, especially think about kids who are homeschooled. They don't get the same social level that a lot of us do. A lot of us who go to public school, we get to talk to others. We get to be introduced to people of different ethnicities and from different parts of the world, or at least their families came from different parts of the world. Or you had a foreign exchange student in your school. I met a girl from France who came to my high school. She was super chill, and I got to learn something about a country that, when I was younger, I had a lot of interest in. Once I found out I was part French, I was like, hey, I want to learn about them. I want to learn about their culture. Also, there's a French cartoon that I used to love, which was, what was it called? Asterix. It was a fun comic and cartoon when I was growing up. And it's nice to have that experience. It's very, very important too. It helps open our minds. It's gonna, one, prevent us from being less racist, which none of us should be racist. There is no point in being racist. There is no superior race. None of that. None of that. Just hating someone because they're different from you is super close-minded. And if you play video games and you do have that view, I want to know how. What games do you play that have like just a purely, at least I'm going to use an example from America. What games do you play that have just purely only white men being the characters? There are no women, and if you see a woman, they're being put down. Or if you see someone who's of a different ethnicity, they're being put down. I can't name a single one. I mean, people like tried to say that Resident Evil 5 was a racist game, and it's like, I mean, if you take it that way, where you take out the other side character who is from that area, and that these people are like infected with a virus, and there's really nothing you can do because we saw that in Resident Evil 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. It infects people, and sadly, once they're infected, they're done. There is no saving them. Would it be cool if there was a way for Chris Redfield to go through and actually save these people instead of having to kill them? Absolutely. Do you think he would try that? Absolutely. Because Chris wasn't a bad person. Kind of got off topic there. Still on topic, but off topic. But yeah, there's a lot of benefits to socializing with people online, especially in a video game where you can work cooperatively. I mean, you put a lot of trust into people on this one, but think of Stardew Valley. Start an online game and leave the room open so anybody can join if they're searching for a game to play. And yeah, you could put faith in them and hope that they're not just going to come in and be like a troll and try to destroy your farm. But you can meet someone who's actually going to have the same goals as you. They want to go in and they want to build this cool little community. And it's wonderful to see two people who don't know each other work together to socialize, get to know each other. And like I said earlier, there's people who have made long-lasting friendships from video games. There's people who have gotten married because they met on a online video game. And they just really hit it off. It's great to see that kind of thing. And like I said, back with the homeschool kids, they don't get that. So letting them have that is a very cool thing. I just wish everybody online could be a decent human. But, you know, when a game developer said that one time, people decided to go on and ridicule him because he said, try to be nice online. And they were like, ha, never, not us. It's sad. It's sad. But yeah, so that's another one. So we've listed a few different ones. Like we have the base level entertainment. We have escapism. We have learning. And we have the social aspect to meet new people, find new friends. And every reason to play a video game is important. And I don't mean this just for video games, again. This also goes for books. Not so much the social thing, but you can get book clubs. They are a thing. I mean, some of them aren't really book clubs. They're not trying to read it. They're just trying to have a social group, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. They found some, like, common ground. Like, they do like books. Maybe they don't like the book they're reading this month or week or whatever book clubs do. But they're at least getting that social side, so I'm definitely going to count it in there. Movies, I mean, heck, people go online and talk about movies with each other. There's like Twitter pages that are dedicated to like the MCU and their movies. And that kind of stuff is equally as important. So, yeah, it really works for all forms of media. I mean, even music. There are music sites. You can talk about music together. I love going onto YouTube and watching like a music video from like 15 years ago or so. And then going through the comments and reading. You'll eventually see someone like, who's here repping it in October of 2024? And it's cool to see that, because then you see someone else comment like, oh yeah, hey, you know, I'm a couple weeks after you, but yep, I'm here too. And they start a conversation. They talk about how much they love this band. And then maybe that band comes to a town and they're able to meet. I mean, things like that happen. I'm not saying always meet strangers online, because yes, that is very dangerous, especially because you don't know who you're dealing with. But you can get to know a person. You can make a connection. So yeah, like I said, it works with all forms of media, all forms of entertainment. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to see. But yeah, like I asked at the beginning, why do you play video games? It's something I really want to know. I like to understand people's thought process and learn more about them. So yeah, let me know. And until next time, you take care. Hey, thanks for watching.
Give us a like if you enjoyed it, and dislike it if you didn't.
Let us know what you think about the channel.
And don't forget to subscribe.
Tell your mom.